All right, are you all ready to get started?
Mm-hmm. I see that people did donate $250 for hard mode. So Charlotte, let's give the people what they want.
Yeah, okay. It's not too terribly different of a run, fortunately.
All right, time begins when I press continue, which is going to be in 3, 2, 1.
So the beginning of the game is very trick heavy right off the start. We're going to be doing a boss skip basically right away, and then we're going to be doing something called a pseudo wave, which is called that because there's an upgrade in the game called a wave beam, which lets you shoot through walls. But there is a glitch that we can use to kind of stick Samus's cannon into a wall for like 1 frame basically, and shoot through the walls without that upgrade. We'll see that soon. On the way there, you're just going to see some nice movement, making sure that we're doing all the quick rises and killing all the enemies on the way without having to stop or slow down. Normally there's a kind of slow animation that plays when you get up a ledge, but if you just press A or press B at just the right time, then you can skip it and just kind of jump up real quick. We're also playing on a completed file, so we're going to be able to skip all of the cutscenes and basically just play the game from the beginning, but having already like completed the game in the metadata, basically. That enemy is really important in unrestricted, but for no major glitches, we just kill it and forget about it. No need to really get into that, but here comes the pseudo wave. If we go slide through this hole, then we fight a broken Emmy, but by doing that, we just go ahead and skip it. Right afterwards, we have to do another pseudo wave. There's actually a few different routes you can go through this first area in the game. It's called Artaria, and by shooting this blob with a pseudo wave, we're going to be able to fight Corpius first, and that allows us to just kind of route our way through in a much faster way. It also gives us Phantom Cloak, which lets us do a fairly big skip in a more human viable way. Normally it's like triple frame perfect or something, but with Phantom Cloak you can do it a little more easily. Now the trouble is, the game expects you to have Charge Beam when we first fight Corpius, and that is how if you run out of missiles, that's how you're supposed to fight him. But since we don't have Charge Beam because we're fighting Corpius first, Jay is going to need to be really, really careful with their shots. It takes 26 missiles after the first phase in order to finish the boss fight. And there's like sort of like 2 sub phases, and you get a missile recharge or missile refill between those. You just have the sub phase. It's going pretty well. It seems like the shots have been pretty good. Alright, so now, unfortunately, we are going to need to hope for a good, like this one specific attack. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. It was just 1 missile short, too.
Is the sound still doubled?
We are currently investigating right now.
Alright, so next we're going to go get Charge Beam. There is an atom that we're going to just kind of really quickly talk to. We're not going to have to talk to too many of the atoms in the game, fortunately, because of a trick that you'll see later. But coming up is a trick called the water slide skip. It involves a tech where you sort of like jump off a ledge or a slide, like just a certain way, and it lets you basically go straight up. And it'll let us skip the first like big water section that you normally have to do. Normally there's a big Emmy chase in this sequence, but because we fought Corpius first, we haven't activated the Emmy in Artaria yet, so it's pretty easy to go through the Emmy zones for this first section. Okay, so right there, Jay did what's called a coyote jump, or a slide jump, as Nintendo calls it. And basically, if you slide over a ledge, you have a brief moment where you can jump even though you're not on solid ground. Yeah, this is the water slide skip I was talking about.
Dang it, I practiced this.
Believe it or not, that was still totally worth it, like, in terms of time save. Because normally you have to go, like, down these 3 slides, go through this whole water section. But instead we just fall straight down. But yeah, as I was saying, the coyote jumps, basically, if you do a slide off a ledge, then you're able to jump for a brief moment afterwards, and that, for some places, you use that to stop going into the water right away. Other times you use it to reach places that you normally can't. Now, what Jay just did there was something called a quick rise in the water, and basically we can't do the normal, like, quick get up in the water, but if you do a jump away from the platform and then instantly turn around, you can just get up fast anyway. And there's the charge beam. And now we are on our way to redirect some lava so that we can go fight the Emmy. Some people skip this E-tank, but on hard mode, enemies do a lot of damage, so definitely picking that up.
Is it just damage increase that's different between normal and hard mode?
Yeah, for the most part, for the entire part, the only difference between hard mode and normal mode is just the damage dealt. Rookie mode just is less damage for bosses only, and then dread mode just kills you all in one hit, no matter what. None of the difficulties change the environmental damage. That's actually worth mentioning. So there are areas in the game where it's too cold for Samus or too hot for Samus, depending on the suit that you have. And that will always do the same amount of damage regardless of which difficulty you're on. So that's actually very fortunate for us because it means that we're able to run through certain cold rooms or certain hot rooms without any increased difficulty in hard mode.
Okay.
There's a couple skips that would be very difficult or impossible if that weren't the case. Depending on the category. Yeah. The next area of the game, we'll be seeing a lot more of these lava redirection switches. It usually just opens up one door and closes another one. But in this case, we're just kind of be following these gold doors to lead us to the Emmy. Now, like we mentioned earlier, we did not activate the Emmy before, and we're actually not going to be passing through the area where the Emmy normally activates naturally. There's like a wall in the way, but luckily there's a very specific wall jump that you can do to kind of get over that wall, and then reactivate the Emmy anyway. We call that Magus Skip. It's named after somebody who thought they were soft locked. Alright, there we go, perfect.
We'll do blog lab, blob lag time.
Oh yeah.
Actually slow down the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So the blob that was ahead, like on top of Samus there. Normally, if you break it, then the enemy can chase you normally, but because you didn't, for some reason, that just makes the game just go to like 5 frames per second. It acts perfectly normal after the chase sequence. So, coming up to the first Emmy fight, it's one of the harder ones of the game, honestly. It's just going to be a quick bit of platforming to get into the perfect position, and then just shoot the Emmy. Yeah, pretty good. This should be fine. Yeah. You have to be very, very precise on your platforming up to that position to be able to slide under the Emmy. Normally you have to jump over it. That was a very good kill.
Thank you.
Is it alright if I read a donation?
Absolutely.
Alright, we have a $21 donation from Duskplume saying, "So many good beans all gathered together for such a great cause. Gotta go fast." Thank you so much, Duskplume, for that donation.
So we're just making our way to the elevator to Cataris, the second area of the game. There is one more like big sort of trick on the way there. It's damage boost. It basically just skips us having to ride a rail that we normally have to use with the spider magnet that we just unlocked. Two missiles. Perfect. It's always nice seeing that it get executed. Very satisfying. I think this would also be a good place for a donation. The loading screen. It's pretty long.
No new donations so far, but I will say, for those who don't know, Team Fastest Furs are a group of furry speedrunners dedicated to building a strong community that is welcoming and open to all. We currently host 2 online charity speedrun marathons per year in the spring and fall, and community events throughout the year. For more information, join us on the Discord by using the command !Discord in chat.
I forgot we were playing hard mode for a second, and I was like, whoa, why are you so much damage?
Yeah, I almost forgot to.
Yeah, it really catches up to you real fast.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this will be the last Atom that we have to talk to, I believe, not counting the very end of the game. And that is all because of a trick that was discovered kinda recently, like a couple months ago, I think. And it's, I think, really the only big... Wait, no, there's a couple other tricks in Cataris. But first we have to just redrift some lava. So coming up is the 5-up boost, or the super boost. There's a few different names for it. And it's another damage boost, but this time we're trying to get onto a rail quickly, instead of just avoid using the rail altogether. Perfect. So coming up next is a heat run. This is an example of what I was talking about with the hard mode not increasing environmental damage. You would need the E-tank. You can do this without an E-tank on hard mode, or just any difficulty usually, but it's easier if you have the E-tank. And yep, this is the start of the long sequence of Emmy spawns that you can get. They're random, and some of them are a lot more problematic than others. That one wasn't too bad. There's one that it's basically just right in your way, and you have to do a lot of maneuvering around it. Hopefully the Emmy spawns are pretty good for this run.
Alright, everybody, it's time to get microwaved.
Yeah, this is a very advanced pseudo wave coming up.
Yes! Beautiful.
Wow, first try.
Oh, no! That's hard mode for you.
Wait, did you
Happened so
die during the
quickly.
cutscene?
I did,
What?
I did.
What happened? All that went so quickly, I had no idea what happened.
So basically, they went into the heat room, they did a pseudo wave into a button that we used to activate some moving platforms, or some moving magnetic things you can grab onto. These ones right here. You can hit it from below by doing a pseudo wave, but the enemy, I think, is still active during the cutscene, and if you get hit during the cutscene, you just die, and on hard mode, you have less health, obviously.
This game is so ridiculous sometimes.
Right there, Jay looked up to move the camera. The way that the heated doors work is you just kind of have to like have them on camera, and then they'll activate if they're currently active. And so by looking up during the pressing of that switch, we don't have to wait for it to open later. And here is Atom Skip, or ADM, Ascending Dual Magnet, and you'll see why. It's a very tight set of wall jumps that will allow us to skip a large section of Caterus, about a minute. And because one of the things that we skip in that section of Caterus is an Atom Room, it means that we break the sequence of Atom, and so the rest of the Atom Rooms for the rest of the game won't be active, he won't talk to us. And that saves about a minute and a half just from the Atom. So combine that with the time that we save in Caterus itself, that's like a 2.5 minute time save, those wall jumps. I may be wrong on the exact specifics of those times, but it's like it's a very big time save. It's also nice because before we found that trick, the Caterus was kind of... Well, a lot of people thought it was a sort of boring part of the run, but it made it a little more interesting, a little spicy. So there is... I think this is a 100% spawn. I've never seen the MED anywhere else, but it's just like right there in the door. But you can just jump over it. No big deal. Alright, and that is the magnet wall climb. Perfectly executed, first try. Just a little time save. Normally you have to wait for the magnet wall to go down and then pull you back up. Jay is just pretty much finishing up Caterus at this point. We're going towards the elevator, or the tram rather, to Dairon, which is where we'll be picking up the wide beam. Something you might notice that Jay's been doing is sliding off of ledges if they're going they're going to continue going that direction, and doing a spin fall if they're trying to turn around past a ledge. These are both pieces of little movement optimizations. I think it's called Trust Fall, and I don't know what this slide off the ledge is called, honestly. But they're both just ways of like getting where you're going a little bit faster, and just like over the course of the run, it saves like tens of minutes.
Yeah, movement in this game is extremely fluid, to the point where I wish that earlier Metroids had like a slide mechanic. Sliding just really brings it all together.
Yeah, I agree. So first thing in Dairon, Jay is going to be going for... Yeah, there we go. Same concept as the water slide skip, basically. You're just able to jump straight up with the cloak on the slope. Just like optimize the movement a little bit more. Yeah, sometimes if you're falling down a little bit more, it's better to counter or do the running melee off of the ledge rather than the slide. It's very geometry specific which one of those is faster. That bat is so annoying. The first green bat. The second green bat's pretty bad too. But just both the bats in the dark zone can mess with you so much. Especially in hard mode.
Yeah, that's hard mode for you.
Is it okay to read a couple of donations out?
Definitely.
Alright, so we have a $20 donation from Far Jacko saying, finally got around to donating this weekend and might as well during a really cool run of a great game. Good luck to Jay Yin, great event as always. Thank you so much, Far Jacko. And we also have another $20 donation from Savage Wizrobe saying, been looking forward to this run a lot and it's been a fun watch so far. Here's $20 to go towards saving the animals. Wait, it's happening so the animals were already saved. Technically? We'll put it towards MK8 Deluxe DLC and the awesome organization that is OR. Thank you so much, Savage.
not a lot of animals to be saved in this game, unfortunately. So Jay just activated the Emmy of this area, the Speed Emmy. It's very fast, but we can lose its trail basically instantly, and it's not really a factor in the first visit of Dairon. So we basically just have to go straight back to Cataris to get the Morph Ball. So the reason we needed the wide beam is there's these blocks. You saw Jay shooting them. So you need to charge wide beam, and they're very trolly a lot of the time. Because for some reason they just made them so that you needed to be like exactly dead on for all 3 parts of the wide beam shot. I think we call them Pedros. That's the one. Lose track of all the names. Cover, and we can make our way to the central unit for the green enemy, which has the Morph Ball Bomb. The central unit fights are mostly all the same. You just kind of pelt them with missiles and then mash or turbo onto the exposed brain. A few of the ones later on you'll be able to do some other stuff, but we'll see that when we get to it.
The professor will not be paying a visit this run.
Alright, no professor. So that's a reference to the fastest of the 3 quick kill options for the Morph Ball Emmy. Is going for the second fastest of the 3. Very unfortunate.
That's unfortunate,
Ooh.
yeah.
Unfortunately, the level of speed that the 3 quick kills have are also in ascending order of risk of death. Yeah, second try, no problem. Easy. So we didn't get to see it earlier, but now that we have the Morph Ball, we're going to be able to go into the Crave statue's mouth, and with that, we'll be able to make our way to a teleportal back to Artaria, where we'll be getting the Varia suit. So something that Jay just did is they slid off of a ledge and then morphed mid-slide, so they would have all the momentum of the slide and carry that into the Morph Ball, and they were able to just go straight into the tunnel with that. You're going to be seeing a lot of that throughout the run, just like morphing directly into a tunnel instead of like pulling yourself into it or like morphing and then going through the tunnel. It's just the slide is a lot faster than your morphing or like your roll speed. There's another example of how like everything flows into itself, like flows into each other, like all the pieces of Metroid Dread's movement. Alrighty. Don't get the E part. Alright, it's a joke in the Metroid Dread community that if you collect any of the E parts, then you just have to reset your run. We don't ever come across 4 of them naturally in an any percent playthrough, so there's really no point in collecting any of them.
What is the current world record for Metroid Dread?
I believe it's 1 hour and 13 minutes. I'm not sure if it's by Sat or B-Dog at the moment. But I know that they both have 113s. Maybe one of them got 112. B-Dog has a world record, but he's not on the board right now. You fall a lot faster in the morph ball, so whenever we have to go down a long shaft, we tend to just morph, and then you have to like maneuver around anything and just unmorph during, and then do a respin to get around it. Sometimes you can just stay in morph ball the whole time. Yeah. So the reason why we even need the Varia suit, by the way, is there's a heated area coming up to the first like major boss of the game, Kraid, and the way that the heated areas in this game work is they start and like they tick every like half second or so, and they do maybe like 2 damage, but as they continue ticking, it does more and more damage. So the really long heated area runs, they're not really possible in this game, so we actually do need all of the suits. At least for no major glitches. So the first phase of Kraid is pretty straightforward. You basically just help him with bullets until he closes them out, and then you can either do a bunch of quick charges, which basically just anytime you're spinning or turning around, Samus will charge the charge beam a lot faster. Kind of oversimplifying it, but that's the gist of it. Perfect. Okay, yeah. So that was the single wall jump. Basically, whenever you do a wall jump, if you hold stick neutral and morph, you won't continue going away from the wall, but you'll continue to gain height. And so if you do that and then you unmorph and respin and then do another wall jump over and over again, then you can gain arbitrary amounts of height on a single wall. And the alternative to doing that for Kraid is waiting for him to shoot some spikes or shoot his belly until you force him to shoot some spikes. Wall jumping is way faster, so that was really good. It's a really good wall jump. Very good Kraid.
Thank you.
If it's alright, I just want to give an update on one of the incentives.
Sure.
Yep. So we are nearly at the $500 goal for the DLC track showcase for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We're currently at $473.32, so we're pretty close. So if you want to see those DLC tracks, yeah, donate towards the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe incentive.
So the purple teleporter puts us at the perfect place to go one of 2 ways. Either we can get early grapple or early bombs. It's faster in no major glitches to get early grapple at this point, so we're going to do some very tight coyote jumps to get across this big pit of lava, and go to another elevator.
A lot of elevators in this game.
Yeah, it's all elevators and trams. Teleportals and pods.
Hmm.
But yeah, normally if you wanted to get grapple, you have to have the speed booster and you do like a... The name is escaping me, I feel so dumb. Oh, Shine Spark. You do like a Shine Spark up the big shaft, but you just do this, and we're kind of like on the other side of the wall of all the speed boost blocks now. Yeah, that was a good example of like sometimes that you have enough space to just maneuver the morph ball the whole way down. So the grapple beam, if you've ever played any other Metroid games, you might think the grapple beam's not that good, but it had a really big upgrade in this game, because not only can it grapple specific grapple points, it can also grapple magnet walls, and there are a lot of magnet walls throughout the game, and it just kind of lets you like zip around certain areas, and you can do a lot of really cool stuff. Like right there, you actually saw Jay zip up diagonal and then let go of the grapple beam and do kind of like a mid-air jump over to get onto the ledge faster. I don't know exactly what we call that, just like a grapple jump, I guess, but...
Grapple cancel.
Grapple cancel, that's it, thank you. But yeah, it's just another way that the movement all flows together. You also tend to just like grapple towards surfaces faster than your normal running speed, so there's a few areas where you'll just like grapple towards the wall instead of walking where you would normally. Alright, that was a good coyote jump out of the morph ball tunnel. I feel like I'm a couple seconds behind, so I might not be perfectly describing the things as they're happening. So this is another area where the enemy spawn can be really bad. Fortunately, I think the chances are lower on hard mode. I'm not sure if that's fake news or what, but I've heard the chances are better to get good enemy spawns on hard mode, which is very kind of them if that's true. But yeah, just like Wide Beam, this is another section where the power is off, so we need to just like go turn on the generator before we can get the power up. It's a little weird if you think about it. I can't blow up this door, so I have to turn on the energy so I can blow up this door. With the morph ball bombs, we're gonna go to Perenia now, yes? Yeah. Both hidden black in the ground, little shortcut.
Alright, I've got a donation to read here.
Okay.
We have a $5 donation from Winnerbit. He says, "This entire run is great, but I gotta say, that boss fight was incredible. Best of luck with the rest of the run." Thank you, Winnerbit.
Here we go.
Fun.
Incredible.
We'll see in And I Ran So Far Away by Flock of Seagulls. Or Tunak Tunak Tune.
Can we get a cover in the Chozo language of that?
Mmm.
So this is Barenia. It's the everybody's favorite, the water level. Fortunately, we're not going to be seeing too much of the water in this run. Because we got the grapple beam early, we're able to skip a little bit of a section of it at the beginning. And normally it would also let us skip a little bit of a section on the way to Flash It, but we actually have an even faster way of navigating that part, which you'll see. It's a very interesting infinite bomb jump trick. We just call it backdoor flash shift, because you just kind of go to the room from the other side. Fortunately, we do have to go through a little bit of water first.
Quarter.
Much water, 7 out of 10.
See, that's why this game didn't win Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Too much water.
You listening, game devs? Less water.
That was a really good backdoor flash shift.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think optimally you have to lay 7 bombs. And I wasn't counting, but it's not very many.
No, why?
Oh right, hard mode. I was like, why are you going for this tank? But yeah, that makes sense.
Hard mode.
Yeah. There's like 5, I want to say, tanks that are like not too far out of the way that you can get. Most people, I think, nowadays get like 2 for normal mode. Hard mode is obviously a little bit less forgiving. Alright, we're gonna see the pseudos. Perfect. Love to see it. So there's another version of the pseudo wave that we haven't really seen yet, is just this like turnaround pseudo. I don't really know how to explain it, I'm gonna be honest, but basically you just like turn around and you release your shot at the same time and it just goes through the wall. And if you do the pseudo, there's a water bomb jump that you can do to kind of like get over across the platform, but it's actually slower to wait for that if you do the pseudos, so you just go over around. Yeah, those are pause buffered pseudos. They're not used as much in No Major Glitches as the double turnaround or just like the slide, bump your head into the ceiling versions. They're pretty cool. So this is, in my opinion, the most annoying enemy in the game. This section coming up. It's like something can always go wrong. Sometimes he just goes to the wrong side, or sometimes he doesn't chase you at all. This time, Emmy's being missed. Yeah, this is another one of the pretty standard enemy fight. Just kind of pelted with missiles. The next one will actually be a little bit different. Look forward to that. And this is another, I mean, that's kind of, like, the quick kill isn't, like, hard, but it's kind of annoying, because you have to get a very specific angle if you want to get the fastest kill, and there's not really much to it beyond just good angle. And especially, a lot of Switch controllers not having very good sticks, it can be annoying. Did you just wait to kill it so that it would drop down into the middle?
I did.
Yeah, I love it. So basically, wherever you kill the Emmy, it doesn't matter like its vertical height. It'll just like die on its horizontal location and then just be on the ground. And so if you kill it on the ceiling and it's not above any platforms, then when it dies, it'll be on the floor. And when Samus goes to it during the cutscene, you'll be on the floor, and it just saves a little bit of time. not having to go down there. I think
Time for everyone's favorite speed booster.
Everybody loves a speed booster. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with the speed booster in this game. You can do a shine spark into a slope to restart your speed booster. You can shine spark, obviously. It's a lot more forgiving on when it stops compared to other games. You don't need to like avoid every single little pixel of the world. You can kind of like ride some walls a little bit, and so it's a lot more versatile in that way. You can also wall jump off of it. And when we do these really long, elaborate speed boost sections, where you kind of keep the speed through the whole sequence, we call those speed keep, and you're going to be seeing a lot of really cool ones throughout the run. My favorite is the one before Gravity Suit, but that's a bit away.
Still thinking about incredible. That is an A+ pun.
It was an incredible pun.
Yes.
Yeah, chat. If you're gonna donate, you gotta leave a Metroid pun in your message. Keep them coming.
So this is Perenia, where we'll be meeting a Frenia. Is that anything? Is that a... Anyway, so that was the Frenia speed cube. Very trolly machine right there. Did not want to die. So yeah, you can just fight this Emmy with missiles, but it takes more missiles than we want to spend time firing, so it's faster just to do two shine sparks over it. Sometimes it will give you an attack where it forces you to counter, and if you flash shift or if you shine spark into it, then it takes less damage because every enemy more or less takes reduced damage during their counter sequence, or at least as far as the bosses go. Which also is why I don't know if I mentioned that we don't do the counter sequences for most of the bosses. You'll notice that Jay didn't do the counter sequence for Kraid or Corpius. You're not really going to be seeing it for any of the bosses for the most part, because they take less damage, and that's ammo that you don't want to waste. Very, very cool speed boost jump there.
Alright, I've got another donation if I can read it.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright, with a $5 donation from Satora saying, "Great to see our game represented on a platform like this. Best of luck, Jay, and kill those birds. We've all got your back." Thank you so much, Satora.
Thank you.
There you go, kill the birds.
The birds, yep.
Also, chat, don't forget we do have incentives that you can apply your donations to. We're getting close to that DLC track showcase for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We're about under $30 towards reaching that goal. And we do have Watch the Cutscenes for Deer Simulator currently at $50 out of 200. And for the color palette for Leghead, pink and blue are currently winning at $100. Green Purple is second with 15, and currently Yellow Blue has 0. So if you want to donate towards any of the incentives or bid wars, just be sure to select them before you donate.
So this Berenia section is going to go by pretty quickly. There are two big things that happen. The first is a speed keep. We're going to do a wall jump into this little morph ball tunnel. Just get up, and then we're going to do another speed keep to get through some other kind of annoying enemies that take up a lot of health or time. Yeah, perfect. Also forgot to mention there are some other rules that you may have noticed during that speed keep specifically. You're able to, in the midair, change between Samus and the morph ball, but not the other way around. And that's a lot of like small things like that are important for making sure that your movement is just right so that you keep the speed. you're not able to go off ledges, but you are able to slide off ledges, and so if you slide off a ledge and then you morph during it, then you get to keep the speed like that. Just, like, a lot of weird stuff like that. Right now, Jay is trying to do the Dragaiga skip. There's a water that's basically just like similar to Spore Spawn from Super Metroid, but underwater. It takes a very long time to kill and doesn't give us any reward other than getting to the other side of this wall. But luckily, we can just shoot away at this blob.
My goodness.
Yeah, that was a little troublesome, but we got through it.
Yeah, I usually go for the pause buffered backup, but neither of them were working, so that's very good.
This always sucks when your backup just isn't working. It's like, oh no, where are you now? Where's my backup?
Mm-hmm.
So this is Gavaran. It's kind of the forest area of the game. There's quite a few bosses that you can fight here. We're going to be skipping one of them. But the first thing that happens is one of them, the boss fight. It's the another of the Chozo robots. This one's gold. It has more health. But, just like the other one, we're able to Shine Spark into it. Unfortunately, we don't have room to set up a second Shine Spark, so we do have to just kind of pelt it with missiles to some extent. And on hard mode, it can be pretty tricky to make it through the boss fight both quickly and safely. Managed to finesse that one though.
All of a sudden I had 13 health.
Yeah. Hard mode, it sneaks up on you.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's slower, but I love just speed boosting through that big crab. So we're gonna go get super missiles now. Technically, you can get these a lot earlier, but it requires you to just like go to this really secluded section of Gavaran and basically be stuck in a little subset, and it's just faster just like waiting to go get them later. The damage output that you get from them isn't that much more, and it doesn't let you do anything early. Yeah, now we are just on our way to Elune, where we will be meeting a very familiar friend if you've played Metroid Fusion. It's a very small section of the game. We're pretty much just going to go in and out for Plasma Beam. There is a boss fight there. All in all,
Go
there
ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say there are 30 bosses in the game, and I think we fight 25 of them. There's quite a few that we can skip over.
Alright. It's alright if I read something out?
Sure.
Alright, just letting the chat know that Fastest First do have some merch. They're excited to offer 3 incredible marathon t-shirts created by furry artists specifically for this event. Use the command !merch for a link to the Fastest First store, and check out Honk by Tally Soundwave, Brain Squad by Aruncoon14, and Fierce Felines by Autumn Wyvern. All proceeds from shirt sales will be donated to OR, and they will only be available for a limited time, so order yours now. I highly recommend getting the Spring Squad one, because if you love Chicory or Tunic or Hollow Knight, that one has a print with all those characters, so yeah, that's my recommendation.
I was so scared with that flash hip through that X monster. Yeah, 12 health. 28. So this is a pretty advanced speed keep that Jay's doing right now. But luckily, because they did it, we get to Shine Spark the boss doors, not something you usually get to see. So this is another boss that's recurring, much like the robots or the central units. They're just chosen warriors infected by X. For the most part, the best strategy for them is to just mash the normal beam on them. If you can weave in some missiles from the beam spam, that's good. But for the most part, just spamming beam outpaces the damage from missiles or charge shot or grapple beam. Alright, time for the biggest time save in the world. Love it. So what Jay did there at the end was an R shot. So basically when you have the charge shot in your hand charged, if you press R, which is the button that activates missile, then it'll automatically shoot the charge shot. And you can actually shoot it even during a Shine Spark, when normally you can't shoot during a Shine Spark, but if you press R and you have the charge shot charged, then you can shoot. And that lets you open up a door if you time it correctly, and so you can continue your Shine Spark a little bit more, which is good because Shine Sparks are faster than any other form of movement in the game. That feels true. I feel like there may be some glitched movement that I'm not thinking of, but for the most part. You can get a really, really bad blue Emmy spawn there, but luckily that worked out pretty well. So we're going to be doing a water bomb jump. Basically, when you are in the water, the game tries to stop you from going over a certain height, usually, but if you do a bomb jump and then unmorph before you touch the ground, and then jump up, lay a bomb, unmorph, jump back up, remorph, and then get the bomb jump, you get the full height from it underwater, and lets you get a little bit higher in the water than you are able to do in any other fashion, aside from Shine Spark. And so that lets us go past the section where we would normally go and get the double jump, the spin boost, and get ice beam or ice missile first instead. Similar to the speed boost Emmy, it's not really too difficult to kill the blue Emmy, but it's kind of annoying. It's all in the angle. But yeah, we also killed the central unit with a Shine Spark. Should have mentioned that. So now because we have the ice beam, we don't need to go do the double jump like I mentioned, and we're able to instead go straight back to Ferenia, which is where we met Quiet Robe earlier, you may remember. But we're going to be going to Upper Ferenia, and notably this is where the power-up Space Jump is located, which gives us infinite jumps. Obviously that's better than double jump, which is why we skipped double jump. There's a few different ways you can collect the Space Jump early. Normally you are required to have storm missiles, but there is a way that you can go back around and do some complicated bomb jumps to sort of wiggle your way in there in the back room. You can even kill a certain boss and get a certain power-up to do it easier that way, but the fastest way is another pseudo wave. And I was asked to be quiet during the pseudo wave. It's a very complicated trick. I love first try, baby. Let's go.
Wow.
So yeah, that is it can be RNG, but there is a very specific angle and timing you can use so that it's not RNG, and it's basically frame and angle perfect. It is extremely difficult. You can lose tens, not that much. You can lose minutes at a time when you're starting out on that trick. It's extremely difficult. So basically what happened there is the blob, we weren't able to shoot directly at the blob with any angle that would work for the pseudo wave, so we needed the enemy, the little crab guy, to put out his claws at just the right point where we were able to hit the enemy with the beam instead, and then like the diffusion bubbles, that's what hit the blob. And so that's why it's so specific.
I may or may not be goated with the sauce. I'll let other people determine that. Uh-oh.
You got my vote. Goated with the sauce. Sorry, I believe we're going to be seeing another speed keep here. Perfect. Yeah, so that's a deceptively difficult speed keep to get from, or to get into the yellow teleportal, because you have to go downward and shoot a door like right as you come out of the previous door, and you have like a very small amount of time to shoot downwards, morph. It's difficult. So the reason why we're going to the yellow teleportal is because since we got space jump early, we are currently able to get screw attack now. There's a few different ways of getting screw attack. There's a glitch that was discovered recently that we're not going to talk about. For this version of the run, we needed space jump. That was a really good speed kick.
It's my favorite one in the game.
Any of the ones where like you fall off a ledge into a morph ball, all just look really slick to me all the time. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a cold run. We have plenty of health though, there's not really like too much to worry about. You can do that even with one E-Tank, which they did. It's good to have 4 or 5 safety E-Tanks. But yeah, so this is the water space jump. It is a trick that involves using the geometry and the fact that there's like a ceiling above Samus's head. When you jump underwater, the game kind of tries to like push you up a little bit farther. And it tries to do this like basically all throughout the game. It kind of like corrects your location so that you'll like hit ledges that you think you should, avoid ledges you think you shouldn't. But by abusing the exact behavior of it, we're able to get more height than we are normally and escape the surface of the water. And now we're going to be doing an out-of-water bomb jump. And basically, yeah. So you just set a morph ball like right at the surface of the water. Or you set a morph ball bomb right at the surface of the water, and then when it goes off, you are in the morph ball, and it just puts you, again, right beyond the surface of the water and allows you to escape. This is my favorite pseudo of the game, personally. So something that's interesting about this game is anytime you go out of bounds, with the exception of a few specific behaviors, the game tries to kill you whenever you're out of bounds. So that looks like that should have killed you, but the hinge is never actually technically traveling through Samus. The game is in like a binary state. It just goes from in one position to the other position. If you look at the map, you can see it just like switch over instantly, but there's an animation that plays, but the animation is totally cosmetic. So we're able to do funny little pseudo waves like that. And so now this is kind of just the part of the game where we go through like 5 million teleportals in a row. Trying to get to early gravity. is now that we have Screw Attack, normally when you get the gravity suit, you have to then go back to Artaria, and it activates this frozen version of the world. And it's a very long section, you have to fight multiple bosses. Takes up a lot of time. But by having Screw Attack before Gravity Suit, we're able to just go a different path and instead just avoid all of that because we never go back to Artaria. But first we have to get Gravity Suit, which is in Berenia. And to get to Berenia, we need to go to the Green Teleportal. To go to the Green Teleportal, we need to go to the Gavaran. Gavaran, the fastest way to get there is through the Orange Teleportal, which is in Cataris, which we had to take the Red Teleportal to get to. And if you run the physical version of the game with a lower slow time, this is probably your least favorite part. Or favorite, you know, it's a good time for a bathroom break.
You taught me this.
Oh yes, this is another really cool trick. So you charge the Shine Spark, you Screw Attack through the floor, and then you just Shine Spark to the right. Love that trick. There's a few different ways to get to this Green Teleportal. You can just like Screw Attack and then space jump over, or you can go like down and around and then Shine Spark to the right. Or if you're goated with the sauce.
Sauce. If it's okay to quickly shout out a $25 anonymous donation, thank you so much. And we're under $2 away from the DLC track showcase, so yeah, we're just at that little tiny bit, and then we'll meet the goal.
So this is my favorite Shine or speed keep in the game. Go through multiple different slopes. You actually can skip that slope with the flash shift if you're very precise. And then you just end up on the other side of Berenia. So normally you have to go like through just to wade through a whole bunch more water, and you have to like go down and around the entire world. But by taking the Green Teleportal and doing the speed keep, normally you're just supposed to do it for the missile plus tank, but it happens to also be right by Gravity Suit. It's worth noting the reason why Jay jumps when we're traveling through water is that Samus's air speed, or water speed, I guess, is a little bit higher than her walking speed underwater. Not that that's going to be relevant from now on, because now we have the Gravity Suit. So yeah, like I said, normally we'd be going right from here, but because we have the Screw Attack now, we can just go straight up and skip the entire frozen section of the game. Fortunately, it does mean we skip my favorite boss, but it's faster, I guess. Yeah, when you're not doing damage to both of the robots at the same time, Screw Attack is a really fast way of doing damage. Okay, wow.
Oof.
Guess 4 ain't enough for hard mode.
Yeah, not with the Screw Attack strats, probably. But yeah, like I said, the Screw Attack, it does do a lot of damage to the robots, but unfortunately, you're not invincible when you're Screw Attacking. If you don't kill the thing that you're Screw Attacking, then you still take contact damage. So, it's a little bit dangerous. Yeah, that was scary.
Oh.
Luckily, that fight leads us straight into everybody's favorite boss fight, Golzuna. So the boss coming up is kind of a multi-phased fight, but not in like the traditional sense. It actually has 3 different enemies that you just fight back to back that reshapes itself over and over again. It starts with a very normal enemy, just like a standard crab thing. You just shoot that. Then you have the big crab. You can Shine Spark that. And then the main part of the boss, Golzuna itself, takes 2 Shine Sparks to kill. And there are ways of setting it up. There's a few different ways. I'm actually not familiar with what specific technique Jay uses, so I'm excited to see that. But there's ways that are faster, there's ways that are more consistent. Everybody has their own balance of these two, their own ways that works for them. Which honestly, as a spectator, I like. I think it's one of the more interesting boss fights for that reason. The ball spark method, love it. Boom. Alright, and then we have the Core X, and that's the reason why we call this the 4 spark kill, because the last spark is used on the Core X itself. On some rocks it's faster not to spark it, but we spark the Core X.
That was a boss?
That was a boss, yeah.
I didn't think that was a boss, that was way too quick.
Believe it or not, that is actually one of the harder bosses, like run-ending bosses in the game. If you mess up any of the Shine Sparks, it just suddenly becomes like the most annoying thing in the world to like set up a Shine Spark again.
You want a hard boss, get the room after it.
Yeah. Yeah, the cross bombs in this game, for some reason, there's like a lot of situations in which even though you're holding down R and you press the bomb button, it doesn't lay a cross bomb. And I know it has something to do with like if you're holding R as you cross through a room transition during a long load or something. I don't know. I just know that it doesn't work all the time properly. So we're gonna get to see another R spark here. This one's a little bit longer than the previous one. It's the second biggest time save of the year. Hope that sound isn't coming through too loud. Yeah, so there's another version of the pseudo wave that Kevin really talked about. That's the pseudo grapple that just happened there. Basically, your grapple beam kind of follows the same rules, sort of, as the beam, and so it can go through walls, but it stops a lot sooner, so you need to actually grapple onto something pretty close for it to be usable. Luckily, the grapple blocks are pretty small, so you can just kind of grab them from the other side. It looks very funny.
Yeah, they're close enough. So...
I wish that there was a place in the game where it was useful to have one of the like big grapple blocks that we pull from the opposite side, because that looks really, really funny when you do that.
That would look extremely funny. You'd probably die instantly.
It depends on where you pull it, but yeah. So this is our last trip through Terenia before the end game, basically. We are going to be going to get the last 2 items that we need. We need to get the Wave Beam from the Wave Emmy, and we also need to get the Storm Missiles. If you've played Metroid Prime 2, they're kind of similar to the Seeker Missiles. The Wave Beam is like what the Pseudo Waves have been doing, except they're supposed to work that way. So this section is the actual part where you avoid the enemy is probably the most lenient in the entire run, just because you're expected to go through this section of the game without the gravity suit, and so the wave enemy is faster than you. But when you have the gravity suit, you move normal speed through water, and it's very easy to just run away the whole time. Like, you never even really see the enemy on most runs. There's like a bad spawn you can get in one place, but for the most part. This is the Storm Missile boss, SQ. It goes by pretty quickly, similar to Golzuna, you just kind of, even faster, honestly. When you have Screw Attack, you can damage it even when it's shielded, and so you just kind of Screw Attack into it over and over again. So we're coming up on another twin robo fight. This one is a little bit nicer because you're actually able to take a speed boost into the fight, and also they're not both gold. See, like nothing. Crumple like paper. And so now we're able to go get the wave beam. We almost are able to just like skip these items, but there's just like these couple walls at the end game that require you to have the wave beam. And so to get the wave beam, you need the storm missile.
Alright. I'm very excited to attempt this for Marathon. I do need a little focus.
Alright,
So
cool.
we're going to be seeing a very precise enemy kill coming up off of the easiest Emmy, or the easiest central unit fight in the game. Just Shine Spark it and it's really attack it. Yeah, I will be quiet and let Jay focus now.
Whew! Alright.
That was good. That was really good.
Thank you.
I think that throughout that entire section, you're only allowed to miss like 4 bullets or something. It's like very, very tight.
It's very
Wow.
tight. If I'd missed anything, I probably would have had to jump over.
And that is I think that's the fastest version of, unless you have like 20 hertz turbo button or something, that's the fastest version of the quick kill. It does mean that we have to go through a morphball tunnel, but it's still faster than fighting it the like slow way. So yeah, the only thing left to do now really is just go back to Hanubia and then finish up the endgame. We're going to be fighting a couple more Chozo warriors. We're kinda gonna be fighting one more enemy, sort of. And then we'll be fighting the final boss, which there's a lot of stuff to talk about there.
Alright. In the meantime, do you mind if I do a little bit of a mention?
Please do.
Oh, sure.
Yep. Alright, chat, so just to let you all know that we do have a few incentives for the rest of the evening. We do have watch the cutscene for Deer Simulator, currently at $50 out of 200. If you want the cutscenes to be added for that game, you can $150 to meet that goal. And for the color palette for Electhead, still Pink Blue is winning at $100, with Green Purple second with 15, and Yellow Blue at current 0. And also, we're currently very, very close to the DLC track showcase for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There's only a couple bucks left to meet that goal. So if you want to meet any of those incentives, please, when you're donating, add those incentives to the goal, and then yeah, it'll go towards the milestone, right?
If you have others, this would be a great time.
Alright. Also, just let everyone know that all revenue from Twitch subscriptions and cheered bids received during Fastest First Spring Spectacular will be donated to your chosen charity or the Organization for Autism Research. Go fast and get yourself our Fastest First emotes now, including our new PB Bolt emote. And don't forget to check and see if you have your free Prime Gaming sub available too.
So the power bomb has a few mechanics that are worth talking about. The way that the charge works is kind of weird. The charge doesn't bolt, like if you charge the power bomb, you have to like hold down R for a second while you're in Morph Ball. The charge itself doesn't carry over between rooms, but the explosion does. So it's faster usually to preload the bomb and then lay it right before you go through a door transition if there's something that you need to blow up in the next room. However, the explosion radius isn't infinite, and so there are a few instances where you want to like be at a specific point before the door. You can't just lay it anywhere and then go through the door. Also, sometimes you can get really unlucky with the drops from the machines that you shoot below and just have to go to the ammo refill station, which is always really annoying. So the last two Chozo fights of the game have a shield, and there's a very specific way you can maneuver having the storm missile to make it so you don't have to do the shield counter sequence. Unfortunately, it's not going to be perfectly right now, but you did see it during that Chozo fight. Perfect. And then once their shield's down, you just kind of do the usual beam spam. So we're going to be going into the final area of the game. It's called Itarash. It's shorter than Torian by a pretty wide margin. Pretty much just going to do a short little speed boost into the boss room. And then fight Ravenbeak. So the mechanics of Ravenbeak, the biggest thing that most people run into is that there's a phase during the first section where he turns gold and he won't take any damage. But there's a way of skipping that by doing enough damage to him during his first counter sequence. In order to do enough damage to skip the gold phase, you need to either fire 15 shots per second, or have super missiles, or do a storm missile lock during the counter sequence and then fire at least 12 shots per second. Or lock 2, which is very tight, and then shoot at, I think, 8 hertz. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Before we get to that counter sequence, we just hit Ravenbeak a bunch. We're going to be laying cross bombs between every missile when we can help it, because the cross bombs, for some reason, every individual part of the cross bomb does a lot of damage. I don't know exactly how much, but it's like comparable to a storm missile, like 5 lock. It's a crazy amount of damage, and you get it for every single part of the storm of the cross bomb. During the second phase, Ravenbeak has reduced damage from beams, but if you're able to weave missiles between the beams, then it's still worth doing, just because it's extra damage on top. For the most part, you want to just kind of help him with the ice missiles. That gets into phase 3, where it's very similar to phase 1, with kind of, even some of the same attacks are repeated, we're kind of just pelting them with missiles and mixing in cross bombs when we can. You can destroy that sun with a power bomb, and conveniently, that also gives you time to lay another cross bomb. So that counter sequence during the third phase, it's worth it to take the counter sequence if it's the first or second attack he does. If it's towards the end, then it's not worth doing for the similar reason to earlier. It's just slower, because if you take the counter sequence, you have to finish the entire counter sequence. It won't stop when he's dead. So if you know he's about to die anyway, then you just don't, you can counter him, but then don't actually shoot, so that you don't go into the whole cutscene. And now this is Raven X, or Ravenbeak X, whatever you want to call him. He needs to take a certain amount of damage and also be a certain amount of close, a certain proximity to Samus. And we basically just wait 5 steps to start charging the Hyper Beam, and when we do that, it makes it so that the time where he's taken enough damage is basically right as he's at the right proximity. We don't start it right away because he walks slower while we are hitting him with the Hyper Beam. And now we have the escape sequence. There is a speed keep you can do at the very beginning, but it's pretty new, pretty advanced, so you're going to be seeing that. We're going to be seeing a couple speed keeps, and for the most part, just kind of blasting through everything. Samus is completely invincible during the escape sequence, so you don't have to worry about the enemies. They're kind of just cosmetic, honestly.
I'm guessing because of the armor, right?
Yeah. The Metroid DNA has awakened. The power bomb that Jay just left during the screen transition used to crash the game very consistently, but luckily that got patched out, so they fixed it at some point. They're able to do that because it's a very small time save if it doesn't crash your game. So this upcoming Shine Spark, we're going to be Shine Sparking up. We're going to be jumping up a couple steps and before we do it, because if we just Shine Spark straight from the ground, and there's like this whole like camera pan, zoom in cutscene that wastes like 2 seconds.
Time comes when I reach the outside. Time.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
Good job.
Yeah, the second
That's,
half of that month was really good.
Thanks. That's Metroid Dread hard mode. Oh yeah, you can't touch your ship.
So drain
Yep.
it.
At any rate, thank you for watching. I do appreciate all the GGs in chat. Thank you, Charlotte, for commentating. And I'd like to thank the Metroid Dread speedrunning community for, helping me, get the ability to get this far. Like to thank Fastest First for hosting and the Organization for Autism Research, doing great work. We're raising money for them.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you all.
Yep. Do you have anything you want to shout out? Where can I find you on Twitch or on social media? Where you can find you?
You can find me at J_Yeen on Twitch, and on Twitter I'm Goth_U-Haul. Charlotte, do you want to share your stuff?
Oh, yeah, I am Arania Charlotte on Twitter, and you can find everything else from there. Don't remember all my other URLs.
Metroid is finally the main character.
There you go.
All right. Thank you very much.